Okay, we're live again. See what happens here on ThinkTech. We're going to call this Sustainability Away because it's a sustainable issue. It's an environmental issue. And our special guests are Judy Sobin, who is an environmentalist, and Sam Montgomery, who is...
I am a business owner. I own 2 businesses on the bay. I also own a home on the marina, and I co-founded Friends of Maunalua Bay.
Okay, all right. Who's the other co-founder?
My wife and the Marina Association.
Okay.
And I'm a member as well.
And you're a member as well. All right, welcome to the show, you guys.
Thank you.
Nice to
Thanks
have
for
you
having
here.
us.
Thank you
This
for
is an
having us.
important discussion.
It is.
So the question of the day is, what's going on in Maunalua Bay?
It sounds like a song,
rhymes.
right? We should.
We wish we knew.
I'm just getting a handle on this.
We sat through, especially Sam, I didn't sit through the whole day, but an advisory committee meeting yesterday for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administrations.
We'll just call them NOAA.
NOAA. And you know, we were pretty excited. We thought, you know, here's a good chance to have some real basic community discussion about this. And by the afternoon, before there was even any community input, community testimony, they were already voting and discussing and finalizing the issue. So it was really just kangaroo court.
Well, let's reel it back just a little.
Yes.
To try to make people understand.
Yes.
I mean, I'm just learning myself. So what we have here is this sort of pop-up thing with a special management area.
Yes.
That has never actually been established in any place in the country up till now. And this popped up with NOAA, how long ago?
Well, apparently they've been working on this for 4 years.
But you didn't
We
know.
found out about it in May.
May of this year.
2015.
That's 60 days ago.
Correct.
Whatever.
And at that time, there was a June 19th deadline for community input.
So the federal government decided, for whatever reason, so we can explore that they were going to create this special management area, and they're going to write a bunch of rules and regulations for how Maunalua Bay is supposed to be operated by the people around it.
Correct.
And so forth. But that's state waters, isn't it? And it's
Yes.
it's been managed up till now by DLNR, which is has been a very responsible, sometimes over-responsible steward of our environment.
Yes.
In my opinion. So why exactly? Why did NOAA get involved? This the first time deal. Why did NOAA? Let me ask it again. Why did NOAA get involved? Anybody have an answer on that?
Well, we asked them that same question about 100 times, and they wouldn't give us an answer other than behind a closed-door meeting with the Marina Association that Nainoa Thompson and the Polynesian Voyaging Society approached them and asked them to make it a special management area or a sanctuary.
Sanctuary.
So,
Okay, so Nainoa Thompson has surfaced as somebody who wanted to set this up.
That's-
Anybody else?
that's what she said, but then in the next meeting, she retracted her statement and said that wasn't exactly the case. We don't know why she changed her story, but near there, I mean, it doesn't matter. Basically, we want to know why they want to take the state waters away and make them federal.
Why did they say? Did they ever
They
answer
said
that
that the DLNR is failing at their job. And we did a lot, after this, we did a lot of research. Basically how this whole thing went down, we heard about this public hearing one day before it was supposed to happen in Aina Haina. So all of us got together, we went down there, about 150 people went down there. 95 to 98% of the room was completely opposing what they were saying. But in these meetings they keep having, they keep saying, well, the community's asked for this. The community wants this. There's a couple special interest groups such as Malama Maunalua, Friends of Livable Hawaii Kai Hui. There's a small portion of the population in Hawaii Kai that constantly call and nag on the DLNR and say that there's people breaking the rules and this and that. And sure, there is some fishermen breaking some rules and there is other people breaking rules, but that happens everywhere. You can't justify changing rules for a couple bad people.
Okay,
the whole community.
Who is Malama Maunalua? Who is that?
That's a special interest group that's been helping clean up the bay. They've done a lot of good things in the past, like cleaning the invasive algae off the reef and stuff like that. But
They've existed for a while.
yes, but as of late, they've been targeting the people that have stood up in the community. We started holding signs up after we went to that public hearing because we were all alarmed. We were scared. The federal government's coming in to take over our waters. What's going on here? So we started going. We want the people to get involved here. And so Gene Ward had a public meeting last Tuesday at Hahione Elementary School. And anywhere from 400 to 500 people showed up. Maybe more. And they had Suzanne Case from the DLNR, and they had Malia Chow, who's the superintendent for NOAA. And basically, they kind of gave their briefing, and then the public started chiming in. And the public spoke, and they said, we do not want the federal government coming in and having the jurisdiction over our bay. These are state waters. The rules that are in place are fine, but maybe the problem is the lack of funding that the DLNR has been getting.
What did DLNR say?
DLNR said that they would like NOAA to come in and help them, but the fact is that NOAA already co-manages the bay. But the problem is NOAA in the past years has not brought the money forward. They've only brought $87,000 on average to the DLNR statewide over the past years. And some years in the 90s, I believe it was around 200,000. In 2011, 2012, they gave $0 to the DLNR to help enforcement and stuff like that.
This is so interesting because I guess it was a few years ago, maybe when the president was first elected, that his campaign chair, that is in Hawaii, Andy Weiner, went to Washington and became a senior executive in NOAA, and until Senator Brian Schatz was appointed, when Weiner became Brian Schatz's chief of staff, I think, Andy was a big player in NOAA. So I wonder.
So we have a little more information now. Thank you.
Well,
yeah, no,
I
that's
have
good
no
information.
It's
No,
just,
that's
I'm
an
just
interesting.
telling you that the connection. That's all.
Going back to how this started, every 5 years, NOAA is directed to come up to look at their management plan for the whale sanctuary, which Maunalua Bay, at least beyond the reef, already is a whale sanctuary. And so that was the thing they were doing, I guess, 4 years ago. And that's fine, that's their job. When they looked at the whale sanctuary, they said, oh, why don't we just make this an ecosystem-based sanctuary? Now that sounds kind of benign, okay, just make it an ecosystem. But it comes with all kinds of rules and regulations. And that's what, so the kind of the devil is in the details. And as Sam said, it's a top-down thing. So if they truly want to help the bay, let's look at the reasons for the impact on the ecosystem, what those impacts are, and then let's figure out how to deal with them.
Or fund DLNR.
Fund DLNR to deal with them. But they came up with this convoluted way of looking at it. And then yesterday we asked them, well, some of the people who work for NOAA, where's the research? What is this based upon? No studies have been done by NOAA to even examine these
So what
issues.
about the rules? Have you seen them?
Yes, we have.
So what are they like? Can you talk about the rules?
They are vague and imposing at the same time. They talk about Sam can.
Well,
Sam
basically,
goes
they're
on.
so vague, and like the lawyer that's representing the marina and Friends of Maunalua Bay said, there's so much fluff in their plan. It's hard for the average person to actually.
What do you mean by fluff?
Well, I mean, it's one page that says one thing. The next page, it totally contradicts itself. So basically, the way the rules are written right now, a little kid going to dig into the sand below the high tide line could have up to $100,000 in fines. A fisherman going out with his son, dropping an anchor in the sand, dragging because the offshore winds push you into the reef, you could be up to $100,000 in fines. Permitting authority is going to be pulled from the state, and the federal government, being NOAA, will be the issuing party to do the permitting. And they're going to say you're going to need special use permits and blah, 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 blah. But what happened in the meeting yesterday that was scary was one of the people from NOAA said, well, what we want to have happen is have the bigger hammer come in. And we're all bigger hammer. And so basically what they're saying is they want the feds to impose fines, then the states, you're gonna get slapped by every single hand there is if you do a little,
So under this
infractions.
arrangement, the federal government would make rules. These rules aren't final, are they, or are
No.
they?
No,
These
no,
have-
nothing's
it's-
final
They
yet.
still
This is
tend
their
to be, I
draft,
suppose.
yeah.
They would make rules, the federal government would enforce the rules.
Or they would make a compact with the state to enforce those rules, which is what they do now with the whale sanctuary.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that they're
Has that worked?
considering. Well, it's worked in that DLNR has taken it upon themselves to do it without the funding. So they talk about, that they have disentangled, is that the proper word? 20 whales since
Yep.
since the sanctuary went in. I saw one of those disentanglements, which was quite amazing. It was only DoCare people, DLNR people. There were no NOAA people there disentangling that whale. But that's fine. We can do it. We just need the tools to do it with, and we need a lot more support for DoCare. We need a lot more of those workers out there. We are an island state. We need those guys and women out there doing this.
DLNR is a very important agency
Yes.
in an island state
Yes.
concerned about its environment.
Yes.
But if you start mixing in other agencies, maybe who don't have experience in this, then you
Right.
get an unpredictable result. By the way, I did get a phone message earlier today to indicate that Maunalua is listening to the show. And just to address them for a minute, assuming they are, if you want to send us tweets, you can do that. We do interact with our listeners and viewers. So our Twitter handle is ThinkTech HI. So feel free. Let's see what you.
I'd like to back up on Maunalua for a moment too. They basically were attacking the Marine Association and us, saying that we were one-eyed kings and liars, idiots, whatever you want to call us, saying we were misleading the public. But we were just following what the draft said and what the lawyers said. But I don't want to isolate them. We think what they're doing for the community is good. We just don't want them to target us. We've since had a meeting with them, and they've came to an agreement that they're for us commercial guys being in the bay, and that all of us can work together. And so we respect that, and we want to work along with everyone. This whole process has basically divided our
Yes.
community instead of bringing our community together. And we'd rather bring our community together, and that's what happened in that town hall meeting. The community spoke. The community wants to be engaged. They want to be involved. But actually what happened in that meeting yesterday, that SAC meeting, was the opposite. They chose not to have community involvement. They voted on it. I witnessed it. And they said they left that up to NOAA, who has already failed in the transparency with our community. No one has reached out to us. In that meeting, there was an Oahu rep. There's a rep from Kauai, there's a rep from Maui, who is supposed to be reaching out to the community and speaking for the community. We've never met the guy. The first time we saw him was yesterday. Same thing with Shyla Moon from Kauai flew in as a fisherman, and she said that as well in her statement, that why is it today we're finally meeting the people that are supposed to be representing and speaking for us, and they're not doing anything for us. All they're saying is, let's motion this federal takeover through, and let's find out. We just don't want to witness all this going through without having community involvement. Hawaii is a tight-knit community, and not to involve the community in this is completely bypassing the majorest part of this whole thing, and that's our future generations having a nice place to go out and enjoy our bay. And to have the federal government come in one day and say, sorry guys, you can't use our bay anymore. We're going to make it a fish pond. I think there needs to be a 50-50 split. Here's nature, here's humans. We both got to coexist in the same environment. Sure, we want the best for our bay, but we just don't want it to go one way or the other.
I don't understand why a federal agency gets involved in something that's being handled by a state agency on contiguous
Exactly.
waters.
Right.
Yeah.
And I wonder if you just have somebody who doesn't know anything about this watching this unfold, whether he would come out feeling, good or not so good about the federal government exercising whatever legal jurisdiction, whatever
Right.
that is, that it has here. I mean, we have seen since my time in school a real change in public opinion about the federal government, about Congress, about the agencies. about the way the agencies work, you know, in connecting with local agencies. And from what you say, it doesn't sound like this is a good example of the federal government building credibility with the local community.
This is the opposite.
Yeah.
It is an example of what exactly not to do.
Yeah.
The fact that they used a process that had no relationship to what they actually wanted to accomplish in the end, it's just so deceptive. And then even within that process, to pretty much harass the community that wanted to speak up, because you know they're the big federal government, and then they have a lot of tools that maybe we don't have. Like they wrote this 454-page document, which they had basically 4 years to kind of mess around with, look at, and we get it around May, or maybe it was a little earlier.
Yeah, it was middle of May, I believe.
Yeah. And we have to digest it really quickly and get really smart and try to bring up points that are really important. And then we're told we're misguided. So that doesn't seem like the way to handle
Okay,
community
well,
input.
I feel like we're going to take a short break to integrate all of that. I'm going to take a very short break. That's Judy Sobin, an environmentalist, and Sam Montgomery, an environmentalist and businessman all around Maunalua Bay. And we're talking about sustainable Hawaii today, trying to sustain our environment here and how we do that together with appropriate agencies of the government. So the question for the day is, what's good for Maunalua Bay? We'll be right back. Okay, this is ThinkTech Hawaii, and it's Wednesday. Every Wednesday is Energy Wednesday here in Hawaii, the state of clean energy. 4 to 5 p.m. every Wednesday. Come and listen to us. And just to show you what I mean, I'm going to ask Sharon to tell us more.
Come and see us every Wednesday, as Jay said. And we have people like Jim Alvarez from HECO here and co-host Ray Starling here every Wednesday. We not only go on Olelo and OC16, but also stream live. So please come visit us, hear about the latest in clean energy.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Ethan Allen. I host Likeable Science on ThinkTech Hawaii. And I do this because I care about science literacy in Hawaii. I want to spread the understanding that science is a vital and interesting part of everyone's life. I want to make sure the broadest possible spectrum of people understand the beauty and the value of science and realize that science plays out each and every day of their lives. I want you to understand that science is fun. So we bring on to this show each week guests who are scientists, from astronomers to zoologists, and we talk about what they do and how they do it. But most importantly, we talk about why you should care about their work, why you should see that their work has value and impact on your life. So I hope you'll join us Fridays, 1 p.m. here on ThinkTech Hawaii. You can watch us via live stream. You can watch us recorded on Olelo, and you can see us each week.
Maunalua Bay is sort of just
Join us.
Okay, we're live.
Special.
We're back. We're live. We're back, and we're going to get our teeth more into this now. Per the discussion during the break, the breaks are always really great. It's too bad you can't watch the break. I learned from you guys that the area affected by these NOAA rules is huge. Can you define how big that area is for our viewers?
Well, there's 3 areas on Oahu. So I believe it's from Kaena Point over towards Haleiwa Harbor.
Kaena Point, the far west end?
Yep, all the way over by Haleiwa Harbor. And then our bay being basically from the wall in Waikiki all the way to Makapu Lighthouse is the sanctuary extension.
That's
But
huge.
the SSMA, the Special Sanctuary Management Area, would be from Diamond Head to Cocoa Head. And then on Kauai, it's the whole Nepali
All by
coast,
itself, that's
Haiena, and then some other zones. And they're trying to put 14 knot restrictions in all the channels. So then all the transpac sailing races and stuff might not be able to happen as well.
Well, it's nice that you have, friends of Maunalua Bay and all, and you guys are looking at it from the point of view of Maunalua Bay and people around, and businesses around Maunalua Bay. But in fact, that the changes in the area you have just described affects most people who have any contact with the water in all of Oahu.
Right.
That's a profound area. And I mean, maybe I haven't read the paper enough, but I didn't know about this. Do you think
Yes,
people know
that's-
about this?
No,
No.
they do not know. I mean, in Hawaii Kai now, there's a little more knowledge because we've been activists, but it's huge. Kauai knows about it. They have.
Kauai knows about it.
Yes.
Yeah, they flew in.
They flew in for our meeting at Hahioni Elementary School in Hawaii Kai, a big group, and they have been very active. They begged the Malia Chow and her bosses to extend the period for involvement of the public in commenting, and they absolutely refused to extend that comment period. They said it's
So
out
how
of
much
their
opportunity
hands.
has the public
Out of
had
their
to
hands.
comment on this?
So they got
Very
how
little.
many signatures from Kauai? I think
So
7.
they had 7,000 previously in 2010, and then they just brought forth another 2,500 to 5,000 signatures. Altogether, we have about 14,000 signatures against this proposal.
Saying against the proposal
In just
general.
1 month's time, we got that many.
Yeah.
That's how many people we've had to reach out to. Basically, at that meeting, Kauai flew in, Big Island flew in, Maui flew in. So basically what we're trying to do is unify all the Hawaiian Islands because it's affecting the whole state and have the people get together and say, no, we don't want this plan the way you guys have it drafted. Sure, we'd love to see NOAA come in and assist the state along with a lot of other organizations if they want to come in and help our waters and our bays. We'd love to have that, but under state regulation, under state control. Once it goes to federal, it's out of our hands. We never get the water back. And they already have a quarter of almost every island with military bases. If they want to experiment somewhere, I suggest they go and experiment on their own water they already have. I mean,
So, okay, what would you guys, I mean, first, what's the problem in Maunalua Bay and all these areas you've described around Oahu? What is the perceived problem here?
in my opinion, I think they're not listening to science. In their own studies, in their own EIS reports, it says science is why we should do something. They're saying the bays are degrading, which they are, because there's too many people. There's a lot of people and the population growth is going. Each one of the EIS statements reflects to runoff, soil, silt, and unsustainable fishing practices for the degradation of the bay. But in their proposed draft, they do not list any of those or address any of them.
remedies.
They are not going to do anything towards that problem. So what exactly are they going to do? They've only set aside $100,000 for Maunalua Bay, basically to take over our bay, and they already paid $87,000. So what exactly are they doing? They're not doing anything. They already failed to
So they're not
fund
gonna
the
fix the
DLNR.
degradation they described.
No, they're avoiding it because
So
it's a
what
big
is- so
problem.
What's the net effect? Rules, lots of rules.
Yeah,
And the rules are going to affect the use of the bay.
Right.
By the
recreational.
people who are using the bay
Recreational-
now.
Recreational use, commercial fishermen are exempt,
They're the only exemption.
only
But
exemption.
didn't you say that the fishing practices had been a
Yes,
problem?
but they're exempt. Isn't
But
that
they don't
what
have
you
an
said?
answer.
So
They
they
don't-
can do anything about fishing practices.
So, but local fish, people who fish for their families, for sustenance, or for fun, or kids who fish, no.
But what do you mean?
That's-
No.
They're not exempt. So,
So they're going to be subject to new
yes,
rules.
correct. So this is what's interesting. They say, well, you know, if fishing is, we don't talk about fishing, right? But they talk about if you walk on anything that is not a sandy bottom, if you deposit anything that's not on a sandy bottom, like a fishing lure, and it goes on a rock, all of those things are prohibited under their rules.
And you get
Those are
fined
pre-
or
And those are
worse.
huge fines.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you didn't say fishing, but it's, in essence, it becomes an illegal activity. It's.
And there's been studies, basically 90% of the fishermen in Hawaii aren't commercial licensed fishermen.
Yes.
They're going out for recreational or to feed their families. So the ones getting affected is the whole community, and the commercial guys are the ones getting the exemption. And when they got addressed that question yesterday in that meeting, they just said they're gonna let the state take care of that. That's the only thing they're letting the state take over. I mean, because that's a hard thing to do.
Now, what about you guys in the recreational boat area, I guess I would say?
Yeah.
You have jet skis out there and some other recreational devices. And Maunalua Bay has been doing that for a long time.
Yeah, my business.
Is that what you do? Is that your
No,
business?
one of our friends does that, but mine's an eco-based business. I do diving, little submarine scooters, I do fishing, stand-up paddling over sand only in the bay. Our impact on the bay is minuscule. Basically, the commercial footprint on that bay is less than 1%. So to say that we're affecting that bay is far-fetched. It's very far-fetched.
So it sounds like the net effect of all of this, I do not see any Twitter yet. Twitter, our address is ThinkTech HI. It sounds like to me, if these rules come in, I mean, I know they'll be changed by the time they get finalized, but you won't be able to do anything out there. People who have used this bay and other areas that are proscribed in this, in the NOAA rules,
Yes.
well, I mean, it'll be pristine, all right, but nobody will be able to use it.
Right.
It'll be sort of withdrawn from use by the public.
Well,
Am I right about that?
I don't really see it being pristine because they're
Yeah.
not addressing any of the degrading
Okay.
problems.
Well, it'll
So
be real
without-
quiet.
Yeah, it'll be very quiet.
It'll be
Exactly.
quiet. Which is kind of what some people would like,
Yeah,
which is
I'm
kind
sure.
of a shame.
What about the harbor?
Well,
What about the submarine off Waikiki?
okay, so there
What
is
about all the surfers? I mean,
this is
whatnot?
what's interesting, Jay. There is an exemption for the submarine cable in there too. It's the most amazing
You mean
thing.
the broadband cable?
The broadband cable.
Yeah, underwater cables,
Underwater
yeah.
cable,
That,
there is an
okay,
exemption.
yeah.
So that's it, but not for nothing else, except the commercial fishermen and that. So somehow they got in there early on in this scoping process that took place 4 years ago, I guess. And, we didn't.
Well, we've heard of meetings and we have people who have told us that used to work for Maunalua and stuff. They had special little meetings with the director of NOAA and took commercial fishermen out on the bay, showed them what they were doing, and supposedly they got written in as an exemption. So there's been a lot of backroom stuff going on, and I mean, just for us commercial guys too, basically in that plan, we have no exemptions. We have nothing. So we already have permits through the state, but with NOAA, the director of NOAA, it's at their discretion. Dredging for our marina is at the discretion of NOAA. You know how long it takes our marina to get approval to do dredging? About 7 to 10 years, and it costs $500,000 just for them to
Just
go
to
through
get
the
the
Army,
approval.
the Army Corps engineers and all that stuff. So to add another layer of bureaucracy, we're already hitting the bottom
Well,
with
you're
our
gonna
props.
be out of business, aren't you?
Well, if this NOAA plan goes through as drafted right now,
Yeah.
I would say yes. All of us are out of business and our whole community. is-
Hundreds of people are involved.
Yes.
with
Right.
the
I have
jobs.
23 people alone. I mean,
Yeah.
there's about 200 jobs right there. The economics would be horrible. It'd be a domino effect to our shopping centers, Kamehameha schools, and this
It's
brings up another
amazing it
point.
got this far
Right.
And there it
without the
says-
public really knowing what's going
Exactly.
on.
And
Crazy.
in their EIS, it states that there appears to be no impact on the economy.
As a matter of fact, they say it's gonna make everything better, and our profit margins and our economics are gonna go through the roof. I mean, they don't even know.
But you don't agree with them about that?
Well, no, because they said that in their EIS that they reached out to the community and reached out to stakeholders, me being one of them. I own 2 businesses on that marina. In a closed-door meeting with them, I said, "What's my name?" They couldn't answer it. I said, "What's her name? She's been in business for 30 years. What's your name over there?"
I know your name.
You do now.
That's Sam Montgomery and Judy Sobin to my
Yeah,
left.
exactly.
And we're going to take a break.
All right.
We're going to come back and talk more about sustainability in Hawaii. We're going to talk more about, let's see, what are we calling it now? The question of the day is what's going on in Maunalua Bay. We'll be right back.
Ted Ralston, folks, host of our show at ThinkTech Hawaii called Where the Road Leads, where we talk about technology influencing the future of Hawaii. Technology, of course, is the art of solving problems. We always bring in interesting and informed guests who can see from different perspectives and different points of view how that future might unfold and how technology can assist us in getting there. So once again, join us 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock on Fridays. Ted Ralston, your host. And please, if you have ideas that you'd like us to address on this show or folks who you think should be on it, let us know.
This is Alice Lee Hagan, host of ThinkTech Hawaii Business Education Spotlight. My show here at ThinkTech Hawaii is every Thursday from 3 to 4 in the afternoon. I bring in interesting guests from Hawaii, the mainland, and hopefully international guests in the future. Do join us on Thursday from 3 to 4 p.m. ThinkTech Hawaii Business Education Spotlight. Aloha.
Hi, I'm your host on ThinkTech Asia, Bill Sharp. I look forward to you joining us each Monday between 4 and 5 o'clock when we film right here in our studio in downtown Honolulu. The show, ThinkTech Asia, focuses on contemporary events in Asia. And by Asia, we mean anything from Hawaii, south to Australia and New Zealand, west to Pakistan, and as far north as the Russian Far East. Clearly, this is one of the most economically dynamic centers of the world, and we bring you up to date on what's going on in a whole host of countries in this very vital region.
3, 2, 1.
We look forward to seeing you. Aloha.
We're back. We're live with Judy Sobin, an environmentalist, and Sam Montgomery, an environmentalist and businessman, both very concerned about Maunalua Bay. And we're talking today about what's good for Maunalua Bay here on Sustainability Hawaii. So I guess I'd like to ask you guys, we have about 10 minutes left.
Okay.
How do you want to see this happen? You're painting a picture where the public really hasn't been involved in a huge project that's going to have huge effect by an agency that has never been involved before in a project, I mean, in an attempt at making an organizational change that has never happened anywhere else.
Right.
That's pretty scary, actually, to me,
Very
and I don't
scary.
know
It
anything
is.
about this. But, okay, so what do you want to happen? What is a good result
Well-
in Maunalua Bay?
I'll start and I'll listen. We want the state to be in charge. We feel the state is the closest one to the situation. They know what's going on. But we want support from NOAA, and we as a community want to work with our whole community to address the actual causes of the degradation to the bay. And I think Sam can speak to that. He's in it every day.
Yeah, I believe the same thing as Judy. The state should stay in control. We should involve everyone from the community, have everyone speak. The more minds, the better. Everyone brings it all together. We can all focus. If everyone has the same goal, and everyone does, we just need to bring everyone together. Everyone's busy. I know I work 7
Yeah.
days a week. I have
I
2
work.
kids, 2 businesses. All of us are busy, but if we just spend a little bit of time getting a plan together, which we were never involved in the first place, which is frustrating for us. And trying to get this forced down our throat is a whole different story. But yeah, if the community comes together and can draft a plan all together, I think everyone will be happy with it. Right now, the federal government's coming in being big brother, and like they said yesterday, the bigger hammer. That's scary. It's like a bad horror movie watching this whole thing unfold because we have no input.
You think that the problems which you described earlier about the degradation of Maunalua Bay, anyway,
Yeah.
can be resolved at the DLNR level?
Oh, I think
It
that.
doesn't require federal intervention here.
Right. I think what needs to happen is they need to talk with the city and county and the state and get all the drainage issues aligned. I mean, it's going to be a costly project. It's going to take a long time. And that's what I asked those folks in the meeting yesterday to do. Can we slow this down a little bit? You guys got a freight train for some reason. You guys want to force it down your one's throat. Why not engage the community? Do this right. Why is it such a snow job and you guys are just steamrolling the community? In that meeting yesterday, everyone signed off that they're going to let the NOAA just take charge and engage the community, which they haven't engaged at all.
But why do you think it's happening this way?
Federal funding, possibly? I
Could be.
mean,
Well, you
it's
said
a money
there's
trail.
no funding
One
yet.
of the-
so-
one of-
Well,
one of
something
the-
stinks.
Yeah, something is not right. We're not, we don't have that overall knowledge maybe that we should have in terms of connecting the dots. But, there's a question as to whether there's going to be that much money left for the whales, because we've all done such a good job in the whale count now that there may not be a lot of funding for a whale sanctuary, but maybe there'd be more funding for an eco-based sanctuary. So we don't know is it that reason that they're trying to do this, to get more funding? And okay, maybe that's okay, but what is that funding going to do? It just goes on and on. But I wanted to say one more thing. We have a very different situation than a lot of other places. We have a private marina. That marina was given to the community, or deeded to the community by Kamehameha Schools. We have a responsibility to that marina to keep it open, to keep it dredged, to keep it in use for the people who are paying for it. And that is a taking issue if they're not going to be able to, if we're not going to be able to use it anymore too. So we have it's snowballing the issues. It is absolutely snowballing. And as one person at the meeting yesterday said, an attorney said at the meeting, said, well, you know what, this has created, what was the word she used?
Oh, she said this was full employment for lawyers.
So, we're like, really? So.
That's not a good thing.
Not a good
No,
thing.
no,
It's
not a
not
good
a good thing. So let's basically throw this out and
Start
let's
over.
start over. Let's start with something that is workable for the community and that we can all get together on, and that we can continue what has already been started by DLNR and by NOAA and by Malama Maunalua and by Friends of Maunalua Bay, and make it right. But we need to keep that local.
Okay, so you guys are essentially speaking for Friends of Maunalua Bay.
Who is the Marina Association, who has 2,400 households, 60,000 people. We are speaking for the community.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So now
I'm speaking for myself.
Yeah, okay,
And
fair
my
enough,
family.
fair enough,
And my
yeah.
family.
So when the 30-meter telescope issue got pumped up a few weeks ago, the governor spoke about it and got involved.
Right.
He didn't have to, but he did. Today's paper, the governor got personally involved in the NextEra Hawaiian Electric merger, personally involved, and made a public
Saw that.
statement. And there are issues about whether he should have done that or not, given the fact that there's a Public Utilities Commission supposed to make that decision. And they're quasi-judicial, and they are appointed by him, and they will have to be reappointed by him, so query whether it was right for him to do that. But question is, and this only from what I saw on the news, is that people look to the governor here, even NOAA looks to the governor to resolve this issue. How does that work, as far as you know? And has he taken any steps? Has he taken a position to resolve that issue?
I think I can answer that. Basically, the governor has been staying very quiet on the issue so far. The Hunting, Farming, Fishing Association, McConney, Christensen, and a few others met with him on June 12th. And they brought up the issue with him, and he was becoming aware of it and whatnot. He said he was going to watch it, and I think from what I heard, he's a very smart, quiet man and very intelligent. So I think he's just kind of divulging everything right now and seeing the whole picture, and then he's going to, make a good choice. And at least we hope, and we want to make sure that he knows
information.
what is going on, and the information that we've been seeing unfold gets in his hands.
Well, let's help him.
Right.
See that camera, let's see, camera number 1, okay? That's the governor right there.
Thank you.
Can you please tell the governor
Governor.
what you would like him to know and do? Ready? Who wants to start?
Governor Ige, we really would like you to look at this issue thoroughly, carefully, talk with the community, find out what's going on, and we'd like you to slow things down for us. The way you can do that is to reject the current proposals and to have it start fresh. Let's do this together, and that's what we hope you'll do.
Well said.
Okay, Sam, your thoughts? He's listening.
Governor Ige, I would like to basically reflect what she said and just slow this whole process down, because they're steamrolling it. The federal government's just coming in fast and furious, and we're not sure exactly what's going to happen if you don't step up and get involved, because what they've done so far is silenced our community, and basically we're handcuffed. We can't voice our opinion. Even on the news, they're not painting the true picture that we state. So you're our last hope. We need you to stand up for the people. It's our state waters. Please help us.
Okay, one more request of you. What about the people? They don't know a whole lot about this, I think. What's your message to them? What do you say to the people a lot of whom, many,
Right.
many, if not most, will be affected.
Yes.
Here in Oahu and maybe neighbor islands.
Neighbor
too.
islands too.
Yeah, so what do
everybody.
you say to them about what's going on?
Get involved. Get involved because this is a really important issue. We love our waters, we want to maintain them, and we don't want to lose control. And we need everybody involved. We need everybody involved. So please get educated and do the best you can to find out what's going on. It's not easy, we know that, but we need you.
I would say please go to friendsofmaunalaubay.org, and we're posting all the facts on that website. So we'll educate the public truthfully, along with the Hawaii Kai Marine Association. We're partnered with them as well. So everything on that website is going to be the truth from the lawyers and from the Marine Association. So you don't have to trust a commercial operator, you can trust the whole community.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
That's Judy Sobin, an environmentalist, and Sam Montgomery, an environmentalist and businessman. On Maunalua Bay, we've been talking about the question of the day, which is what is going on in Maunalua Bay here on Sustainability Hawaii, part of the ThinkTech series. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Judy, great
Thank
to see you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Sam.
sir.
Thank
Appreciate
you
your
very
time.
much. Hello.